Today, many people are trapped under the pressure of both their own thoughts and the opinions of others. Our minds are so filled with the desire to gain the approval of others that we have become able to suppress our own inner voice. It is as if we have tied ourselves with invisible chains. Questions such as, what if I am misunderstood? What if they don't like me? What if I am not good enough? Pass through our souls every day without us realizing it. But stop and think. How can breaking out of this cycle transform your life? If we could just take a step back and look at what is happening from the outside, perhaps we would realize the torture we have been doing to ourselves for years. Isn't making peace with yourself more important than the storms in the outside world? When did we learn to see life with our own eyes, not through someone else's filter? It may seem surprising, but some wise people in the past, the Stoics, had come up with a solution to exactly this situation. They had addressed many ideas that the modern world thought were new centuries ago with a clear mind. They gave simple but striking answers to questions such as how to stay strong in the face of the chaos of daily life, how to cope with disappointments, how to remain true to one's own self. They left their mark on history with their principles that explained how not taking everything seriously is actually a mastery of life. Because they knew that real power is hidden in our ability to manage our reactions to events. Instead of being blown away by every wind, they taught us to stand like a tree that puts its roots deep down. Nowadays, constantly trying to be perfect, and trying to meet everyone's expectations, tires our souls. We are exhausted inside, because even the definition of perfection changes every day. The perfect lives we see on social media are actually an illusion, designed to make us feel incomplete. And we believe this illusion a little more every day. In reality, it is not possible to please everyone, because every person lives their own inner journey. Someone who does not like you may not have even learned to love themselves yet. What if what is really important is finding our inner peace and staying true to our own values? Life is not based on applause from the outside, but on a silent acceptance rising from within. And this acceptance begins when you can see yourself as you are. This is what the Stoics tell us: leave what you cannot control. Focus on what you can control. If you are ready, let's discover the Stoic principles that will provide you with a strong mental shield against the chaos of the modern world. Maybe this video will only last a few minutes for you, but the trace it leaves in your mind can accompany you for a lifetime. Because sometimes a small awareness opens the door to a big change. On this journey, maybe you will redefine yourself and take the first step towards reaching true inner peace. If you are ready, let's start learning to quiet your mind, hear your heart, and truly live. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this video offers you that opportunity. We are here to share not only knowledge but also awareness. So let's get started. 1. Decide what you want to experience. Have you ever tried asking yourself, who is at the wheel of this life? Indeed, the power to decide what you feel is in your hands. The chaos of the outside world does not have to define your inner world, but most of the time, we live our lives according to the script written by others. What do you want to experience in your life? Joy or sadness? Most people think they have chosen joy, but if this choice is just a wish, it is useless. Because the real choice is revealed in your behaviors and thoughts. When you constantly complain, your subconscious mind is programmed according to this pattern. The mind magnifies whatever it focuses on. The more you complain, the more you magnify unhappiness, and the more you are grateful, the more you magnify peace. Being sad is often born not from a desire, but from a choice. Yes, it may sound harsh, but this is a truth that opens the door to your freedom. When you get offended and hurt by everything, you are actually giving the outside world the authority to decide how you feel. Change is difficult but possible. And only brave people can take this path. Redefining yourself and letting go of old habits is not easy, but possible. Because transformation starts with acceptance. That's why you need to take responsibility first. It's easy to say I am like this, and move on. But being able to say I was like this, now I choose to be different, is a real inner revolution. Remember, what is said here does not mean being insensitive to your loved ones. These principles do not teach you to be insensitive, but to be the master of your emotions. It allows you to use your mind as a shield and protect your fragile heart. You cannot control the outside world, but you can control your emotions, and this difference changes your life. Because your emotions guide your actions shape your destiny. That's why this small difference actually opens the door to a very big transformation. TWO. Silence is sometimes the most effective answer. Not everything is solved by talking. Sometimes silence is the most profound answer. People often wait to respond, not to listen. But if you are a true listener, you can heal the other party just by being silent. Instead of reacting immediately in an argument, stopping and understanding their feelings. This is the real sign of maturity. Instant reactions often bring regret. But when you stop and think, you realize the choice, not the reaction. When the other person is in an emotional trough, sometimes just listening is enough instead of trying to make them talk more. Silence is sometimes the most elegant way of saying, I am here. Talking with your eyes, lending a shoulder, being there with your presence. These convey much more than words. And yes, sometimes they convey much more than words. Because words are limited, but silence contains unlimited meanings. A wise person does not want to win every conversation. There is even an elegance in losing some things with silence. 3. Avoid giving unnecessary advice. If a person has not asked you for anything, giving them advice is often useless. On the contrary, this will damage the bond between you and them. Because the path each person walks is shaped by their own experiences. And remember, everyone's life is in their own hands. For some people, learning from a mistake by experience is more valuable than a true statement that someone else has said thousands of times. Moreover, advice given for no reason often stems not from good intentions, but from ego. Seeing ourselves as superior and assuming that someone else is lacking can unknowingly open the door to arrogance. Presenting our own truths as if they were universal truths does not stem from understanding the other person, but from the desire to guide them. However, true understanding is not saying if I were you to the other person. It is being able to say I am trying to understand where you are. You do not have to change people. Standing by their side is sometimes more valuable than 1,000 words, you will say. And remember this. Constantly seeing yourself as the person who saved the world will only tire you out. Because the burden that each person carries is unique to them. A true teacher first illuminates the darkness within himself. He who wants to be a light to others must first go through himself. If you want someone to listen to you, you must first learn to listen to your own inner voice. What you hear in the silence whispers to you who you really are. For Amor, Fati, accept what is. Life may not always go as you planned. At times you will be shaken and lose your direction. But it is precisely at those moments that the deepest principle of Stoicism comes into play. Amor, Fati. Love your fate. This does not mean applauding everything that happens to you, but it does mean giving up resistance, giving up fighting, and becoming one with what is. Because life is shaped not by what you cannot control, but by your reactions. An event may upset you, but what you do with that upset is the real issue. Whatever your mind repeats often, it treats as real. If you constantly think about your fears, your mind will make you believe those fears. But if you feed your future with hope, you can see the light even in a dark room. Imagining is the mind's first step, but it is the small steps taken with courage that turn dreams into reality. Whatever you want to happen in your life, start building it in your mind. But don't just dream. Take action. Because a dream that is not taken into action will become heavy over time. It will slow you down. Sometimes it will even drown you. True freedom is being able to accept everything that happens to you as it is. It is not about giving direction to the conditions, but to your stance. Even if the waves toss you around, continue to follow your inner compass. 5. Get rid of external approval. You post a photo today. If the number of likes is low, your morale is low. If there are no comments, you feel incomplete. But how real is this? Seeking approval on social media is like a thirsty person drinking seawater. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. As Epictetus said, people are often more concerned with imaginary problems than with real ones. The thoughts of others cannot determine who you are, they only look, but when you can look from within, you can really see. If you evaluate yourself according to the judgment of others, you lose your own compass. Today, some people applaud you. Tomorrow, the same people criticize you. External approval is temporary, but your inner stance is beyond time. Your real power is not in the content you share, the sentence you write, or someone praising you. Your real power is waking up in the morning and acting on your own beliefs, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Your character is measured by the way you are not ashamed of yourself, even when you walk into a room alone. Likes, followers, compliments, they are all echoes. But your real voice is in the steps you take inside. Remember, you don't have to lift your head to find the sky. Sometimes it's enough to close your eyes and look inside yourself. 6. Appreciate the moment. Life often preoccupies us with regrets from the past, or the uncertainty of the future. The mind is always stuck in either if only or what if. But remember, the past does not come back, the future has not yet come into being. All we have is the present. And this moment is full of miracles for those who are aware. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. You are alive right now. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are filling and emptying with breath. Isn't this itself a miracle? Living the moment is not as simple. It is standing at the very center of life. Because whoever misses the present actually misses the whole life. It is actually a gift given to you every morning when you wake up. Whether you enjoy a cup of coffee, hug your loved ones, or take a walk in nature, but whatever you do, be truly present there. Not with your thoughts, but with your soul, body, and heart. Of course, life is not always fair. Pain, loss, uncertainty. But we shape our destiny with the reactions we give to these events. You may not be able to change the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sail accordingly. When you stop fighting with life, you start dancing in harmony with it, and that's when you take the first step towards true peace. 7. See losses as beginnings. When you lose someone you love, time seems to stop. You feel like a piece of your heart is missing. It's as if the world loses its old color. But there is a truth that nature whispers to us. Every ending is the messenger of a new beginning. A flower fades but leaves a seed. The sun sets but rises again in the morning. And our loved ones, even though they are not with us physically, the memories they left, the values they taught, the beautiful words they said, remain with us. Their life continues to live inside us. Losing someone is not just a farewell. It is also a mirror. It shows us how short and how precious life is. So don't mourn them. Remember them with love and gratitude. The best way to keep them alive is to keep their values alive. Remember, death is not the end. Maybe it is a small part of a bigger whole. And we are just taking a short break in this cycle. We will meet again one day, but it is our duty to live until that day. 8. Living with the awareness of death. Death, a word that most of us hesitate to even speak. But in fact, it is a mirror that allows us to understand life in its truest form. Thinking about it seems pessimistic to some of us. On the contrary, the awareness of death awakens us. It reminds us how precious time is. Think about it this way. What would you do if today were the last day of your life? Would you hug your loved ones? Would you say that sentence that you have been thinking about but could not say? Would you realize that dream that you wanted to do but always postponed? So why not live today as if it were your last day? Every day could be the first day of the rest of your life. And every moment is a turning point. Stoics say that death should not scare us, but make us aware. Because death is real, it is inevitable. But living with this awareness means living life more deeply, more meaningfully, more fully. Life is like a game. Some people play by the rules, some just to win. But the real winners are those who enjoy every moment. Because it is not the person with the most wealth who wins in this game. It is the person who feels the most, loves the most, and experiences the most. Last word. Stoicism is timeless. This philosophy, dating back thousands of years, still sheds light on millions of people. Because Stoicism is not just a theoretical doctrine. It is a way of life, standing tall despite pain, maintaining hope despite losses, and remaining self-possessed despite the uncertainties of life. These teachings can also guide us in today's chaos. In this age when we lose our attention with a notification and our mood changes with a comment, Stoicism reminds us of calmness, balance, simplicity, and true power. If this video inspired you, if it made a small contribution to your life, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also write in the comments the words, thoughts, or questions that have affected you about Stoicism. Maybe we can take a step towards a new perspective together. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. We learn and develop together. See you in new videos. Be at the wheel of your life. Appreciate every moment, because it will never be the same again.